What's up guys, it's Nick True here, and today I want to show you how I've made over $6,000 in credit card rewards over the last 3 years, and I've made over $3,000 in 2017 alone. I'm going to show you my process for choosing what cards to apply for, how to manage those cards while you're using them, and how to redeem the rewards correctly. Alright, so before I jump in, I need to put out a massive disclaimer. This video right here is for advanced credit card users only. If you have any kind of credit card debt at all, if you're carrying any sort of balance, if you're not paying in full every single month and on time, then stop this video right now and go watch some of my other videos on credit cards. You need to learn how to manage credit wisely first before you can jump into these kind of tactics, because if you don't, these strategies are just going to get you into some deep trouble. But if you know what you're doing and you understand the dangers of credit cards and how to combat them, and you're ready to step up your credit card game, let's jump in. In a second, I'll give you the step-by-step, but first here's a bird's eye view. Basically, I think about my credit cards in one of two categories. I have my baseline everyday cards. For me, this is the Discover It and the Chase Freedom. As a general rule of thumb, everything that Hanna and I purchase goes on one of these two cards, depending on what 5% rotating category that they have going on at the time. This makes managing the month-to-month expenses super easy and simple because I know everything is either on one of those two cards. So those are my baseline cards. The second category is special cards or sign-up bonus cards that I'm using at a very specific time in a very specific way. I only use these cards when I'm trying to get a whole bunch of cash back in a short period of time, and then once I'm done, I either cancel the card or I put it in a drawer never to be used again. So under normal circumstances, I'm using the Discover or the Chase, and then once or twice a year, I apply for a bunch of cards, like 2 to 4 at a time, and I get a whole bunch of cash back at once. Typically, these cards have some sort of sign-up bonus, like spend $3,000 in the first 90 days, and then get $600 cash back or rewards or points or whatever the perk is. So when you do this correctly, depending on how much you spend, you can get a whole bunch of cash back or points in a short period of time. I've gotten as much as $1,500 before in just a 90-day period. Now once I've redeemed the rewards and I'm done with the cards, after a few months go by and everything's kind of died down a little bit, I'll go ahead and call and cancel any of those cards that have an annual fee. Now if it doesn't have an annual fee, I just stick it in a drawer and I'm done with it. The reason you don't want to cancel all of your cards, especially if they don't have a fee, is because those cards are going to eventually help increase your credit score down the road, because they're going to help you decrease your utilization ratio and increase the average length of account history. If you don't understand the way credit scores work, be sure to check out my video on that. Alright, so that's the high level overview. Now there's a whole lot of people out there credit card churning, which is what this is called, but I'm going to dig into my process and the exact steps that I follow whenever I do it. Alright, so step number 1 is to calculate how much you can spend. Now one of the biggest ways credit card companies make money is by enticing you to spend more money than you actually can or should to try and obtain some sort of sign-up bonus. Now like I said earlier, this strategy is for advanced users only, so if you're going to get sucked in by that and spend more money, then don't even try this. Sit down, look at your monthly expenses that you can normally put on a credit card. Not things like rent or mortgage, but things like gas, groceries, going to the store, travel, cook, like all that stuff that you can put onto a credit card. Look at that. Next, I want you to see if there's any sort of big expenses that are coming up in the next couple of months. Maybe you're going on a trip, maybe you've got birthdays, maybe Christmas, maybe buying something for your kids or something big for you. Just look and see if there's any sort of big major items that can be put on a credit card over the next few months. I used to be able to rack up tons of points because the company that I used to work for allowed me to put all of my work travel expenses on my own credit cards, get the rewards, and then they would reimburse me when I turned in a receipt. Now, not everybody has a perk like that, but if you do, man, it's a major benefit. All right, so after you've calculated how much you can spend, the next step, number 2, is to figure out how you want to actually redeem whatever rewards you're going to end up getting. The 3 major ways that you can typically redeem rewards is either through cash directly into your checking account, some sort of points for travel like airfare, rental car, or hotel, or directly with gift cards at like chain restaurants or stores or something like that. So you've got cash, travel points, and gift cards. Back when I did my first spending spree in 2015, Hannah and I were both still in college, and we couldn't take any trips because of money or time, and so getting travel rewards was not going to help me at all. I ended up trying to focus on things that could get me gift cards. At the time, we were really wanting a new TV for our apartment. We ended up using $500 worth of Sam's Club gift cards to get us a nice, awesome HD TV. Now last year, Hannah and I were in a position where we could start taking more trips, so the 4 credit cards that I used last year were all around travel. We were able to use the travel rewards and the cash to take a 10-day trip out west, and we did the Grand Canyon and Mount Zion and a whole bunch of national parks in the Southwest. Now there have been other times where I've just taken the straight cash and just put it into our checking account or our savings account to go towards whatever it is we're saving for at the time. So just think about, how do you best want to use the rewards if you could use them for anything? Do you want to travel? Are you in a place in your life where even if you had the money to travel, you can take the time off to do it? Or do you need to just take the straight cash and use it for something else? Or do gift cards make a lot of sense for your situation? Now if you start reading up on a whole bunch of stuff about credit card card rewards, you're going to find that travel points are typically the most lucrative. But the problem is I don't like looking at what's the best bargain, because first I want to look at what am I actually going to use. I think for some people, looking at the bargain can make them try and get into travel cards and those kinds of things when travel isn't really what they want, or it's something that they shouldn't be doing because they really can't afford all the stuff that goes along with being able to redeem those points. I'm a fan of living life like you normally do and then finding credit card rewards and sign-up bonuses that just make sense for your life. All right, so step number 3 is to do your research. This is the part that I can't do for you. This is the part that is on you. I would typically start with 4 different places: Flyer Talk, My Dollar Plan, The Points Guy, and NerdWallet. Check out those 4 websites because they typically are always updating what deals are going on, what kind of cashback rewards, what the details are, and where the best place is to get the best deal. After you've checked out those 4 websites, then go to Google and type in best credit card rewards for December 2017 or whatever the month is that you're in. There's websites that are dedicated to just providing you with the best credit card deals. It's not that hard to find. This is the most important step though. You've got to really put in the time here to make sure you get the right cards for your situation. Just look at any specific credit card and ask yourself, does this card allow me to redeem the rewards in a way that makes sense for my situation, the way that I want, and can I actually hit the spending requirement over the next 90 days? All right, so step number 4 is to apply for all those credit cards and then set up your system. Now, I use a simple Excel spreadsheet to track all the cards at once, and I really recommend this. Set up a basic table with information like card, email, password for that card, and then any other pertinent information to the sign-up bonus that you need to hit. How much money you need to spend in what time frame, how to redeem it, what the annual fee is if you need to cancel it, all the kind of things that would be very specific to each individual card. Have it in one spreadsheet, all in one spot. All right, step number 5 is to receive all those cards in the mail and then start spending. Now be careful because this is by far the easiest step to just totally screw up. Be sure you're tracking all of your spending very carefully and make sure that once you've hit that limit that you're supposed to hit, you stop spending on that card and move to the next one. Step number 6 is to actually redeem those rewards. Now the 90 days have passed. It's probably taken another statement cycle for all the rewards to get credited to your account. Now's the time to log in and book those flight arrangements and then get reimbursed for them, or transfer the money directly to your checking account, or order those gift cards and wait for them to come in. Whatever it is, however it is, now's the time to cash in. Step number 7 is to finally cancel the cards that have an annual fee or put the ones away that don't. Now I typically let a couple more months pass by and 1 or 2 statements go through to make sure that I've gotten all the rewards and I haven't left anything out and something didn't get credited to me late. So that's it. That's my process for getting all this cash back in a short amount of time. Now before you go, I want to give you 7 more quick pro tips to make this process super effective and super efficient for you. So number 1 is to use a spreadsheet to track all this crap. Now I know I said this earlier, but this one is super important and it bears repeating. There's so much information, there's so easy to get lost in it and forget what goes with that card and what goes with this card, that it's best to use some sort of organization system. A spreadsheet works the best to just keep track of everything. Pro tip number 2 is to use a password that actually reminds you of the cancel date. Something like cancel this card in March 2018. That way, whenever you log in to actually redeem the rewards or pay the bill on time, you'll be constantly reminded of when you need to cancel the card. Pro tip number 3 is to use this strategy with your career or with your own personal business. Like I said earlier, I used to rack up reward points because I used to travel for my job, and the website I mentioned earlier, My Dollar Plan, Madison, the woman who runs that site, she buys a whole bunch of stuff at clearance off like Target and different places and then resells it on Amazon. She consistently makes $10,000 a year in credit card rewards by buying things, putting it on a credit card, and then selling it later. Pro tip number 4, apply for a whole bunch of cards at once instead of doing this like every single month and then space them out a couple times a year. You want to minimize the amount of hard pulls on your credit report. And if you apply for a whole bunch of cards either on the same day or in the span of a couple days, then the credit reporting agencies won't have time to report the hard pull before you apply for that next credit card. Pro tip number 5 is to not do this if you're trying to get a big loan soon. If you're planning to buy a car and take out a loan for it, or you're planning to buy a house and get a mortgage, don't do this anytime near that. This strategy won't hurt you long term and will actually help you long term. But if you're planning to need a loan or need something important in the near future of the next 6 months or year, then I would hold off on this strategy. The couple $1,000s in cash back isn't worth it. Pro tip number 6 is that if you're married, don't do joint accounts unless you just really want to for some reason. Sometimes there is a bonus incentive, like get another $50 cash back once you add an authorized user to the account. If that's the case, then that's fine. But otherwise, don't do joint accounts, because then you can use your spouse's account later on down the road to apply for the exact same credit card and get that same bonus this again. This also minimizes the number of hard pulls on both your credit reports at the same time. Pro tip number 7 is to track the dollars you're making per hour by doing this. When I first started, it took me so long to do the research, I probably was only making $5 or $10 an hour. It really wasn't worth that much. But now that I understand the game, and I've done this quite a few times, I typically make around $90 an hour doing this. And at this point in my life, that is well worth my time. I'll take that trade all day long. It's important to track this though, because you may decide that it's just not worth it for you. Either it takes you way too long to do the research, or you can make a whole lot more money in your day job, and just spending the time on this just doesn't make sense. So that's it, guys. Get out there, apply for some new credit cards, and start raking in the cash back. Now, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more videos like it. And remember, I can teach you how to use credit cards wisely and get a whole bunch of points and stuff, but I can't make you do it. The choice is yours. I'll see y'all next time.